All right there, everybody bringing opium in the building. We back. Oh, I didn't even know that was it. Imagine that. So yeah, today I got some stuff here that I want y'all to check out for me. I have uh this is a community is the best way that I could describe it, right? But I'm under the impression right now that this is a new way that this is a new way. If you sign up over here, hold on, let me put that to the top. But the link that I just put right there, I'm under the impression that this is a way that I could do the alerts again. Remember when I had the alerts? Wait for something to happen with that. So what is going on here with the? Let me get back to the Kingdom of Sound. Oh no! Don't tell me that. I'm vertical. I'm vertical today. What's that? So we don't want too many crazy people in here today, right? Now where is this here? I'm looking. Let me get back in here so I can see the comments, and then we can get started. You know what I mean? Pretty much we're gonna pick up. We're gonna pick up where we left off. Let me see when I get in here. See who's here. All right, King Me, Edward Green, Judah TV. So yeah, this link right here that's at the top of the page, right? When everybody gets a chance, when you get a chance, click on that link, right, and join the community. So I'm gonna start doing some things over there, uh, all together. But uh, generally speaking, it's very interesting over there. You know what I'm saying? I want to see, if we can uh, at least get the alert sent out. Fairly sure there's a way on that on that site to send out an alert. You know what I'm saying? Because as we can see right now, the alerts is not going out. You know what I'm saying? Like we necessarily want them to be. You know what I'm saying? But King Me, what's going on out there? What's going on out there on your end? Before we dive, before we dive, before we dive into the topic. Judah TV, what say you? I saw some interesting, I think that's gonna be a whole series. I've been seeing some other interesting stories. I saw another interesting one today about uh where the moon comes from. So I don't know if the people would be interested, if the people would be interested in that topic right there. But they have a little new a little new theory on where the moon comes from. And in this particular theory, uh, really the mechanism is not different, right? They still saying that it was a collision with another, celestial body, right? Planet, meteor, whatever. But they had a little different twist on it. So I don't know if y'all want to check that out, but we can if y'all if that's what y'all into. You heard three different stories about the moon. So what's the stories? What's the stories that you've heard? Don Bishop. Yeah, now I came on early because look, I got if you see the link at the top, right? I joined this site where it's a community. The name of the site is called school.com. So that was one of the things, of course, that piqued my interest in it. But then it seems like a way to organize, you know what I'm saying, when you got a community of people like we have here on Random Jewels, right? And so even like people that join the school page, then all the members would be able to communicate with each other. You know what I'm saying? It's certain things that we could do over there and not have to go through YouTube, which is another big thing because YouTube can just not like anything that I say on it, right? If YouTube decide they don't like anything that I say on here, then we done. So just in a lot of different ways, I got a couple of different e-commerce things, a couple of different e-commerce things that I do where it's like, yeah, I could easily be they could just press the button and I'm out. So, I want to establish some independence. I think that'll help me. At least I'll be more spread out. Because y'all look, I'm not even on TikTok. I'm on Instagram. I need to broadcast over there more. Uh, but it's just something about YouTube where I'm kind of in my own. I feel like I'm in my own zone, right? And it's various things. Like some platforms, like TikTok, when I see it, is generally silly stuff, right? You know what I'm saying? Instagram, when I see it, it's a lot of smoke over there. That's where the beefs get established. So, uh, that's kind of why I like. That's kind of why I like, YouTube. You said you heard the Earth gave birth to the moon. So, because I mean, in all of the things that I heard, I guess you would say that the Earth gave birth to the moon. But what is this specific version of events right here? Yeah, everybody can join. Everybody can join the school community, right? And like I said, hopefully there's going to be a way where I can send out alerts so that people will know when I'm going live. P Almighty, what's the signs? The original Mr. 120. You said, what do brothers mean when they say that life and death have no partnership? Death is the absence of life. If you can't, it's like you can't really tell half of the lie and half of the truth. Like once you include the lie inside of whatever you said that was true, it's all a lie now. See what I'm saying? You could have a cup, right, with half full of clean water, right? And then you pour some dirty water in there, the water's dirty. So see, death, that's something else that you can't really mix with life. Like even if, you know what I'm saying, if something happens, right? They got like necrosis, right? Where some of your tissue dies, right? They got to cut that off. Because those are two different things. You see what I'm saying? Like where if you speak life into somebody, right, then there's no death. Not where you speak in, the death exists in those that don't want to accept the life. You know what I'm saying? Or they might accept it and then they do something stupid with it. But at the end of the day, like see, even when people say God and the devil work hand in hand, I disagree with that. See, I work hand in hand with the black woman. And I know that's we got some people, but that's who I work hand in hand with. That's somebody else that does something else over there, you know, that, look, he's there, to kind of clean you there to clean the tank. But they're not doing what we doing. The source of that, right? You know, there's really no source of death. Death is just the absence of life. You see what I'm saying? That's why, we can't die. See, this body, right, can deteriorate. But if you ever was life, right, how you gonna stop being life? It's just the goal and purpose of that energy, right, is not gonna be to, navigate you through the environment. It'll move on to some other purpose. But yeah, life and death have no partnership. Right. So you say here, the original Mr. 120 said a meteor crashed into the earth and a piece broke off both bodies and became the moon. Now they got they're not saying that it was a meteor in this new I guess version of the history. Yeah, the deportation of the moon. That's how we said. That's the type of thing. That's how we used to talk. I always wondered about that though. Is if that's the case, how did it how did it end up to be a sphere? Uh, well, uh, that's actually um, no nobody knows 100% why because people didn't see the planets being formed, but you can see that it appears to be the default. It appears to be the default shape of large celestial bodies. You know what I'm saying? Now that's possible because maybe because it's spinning. I couldn't give you a precise uh reason. You also have you know once you got a core, now you got gravity is it's affecting in every direction the same. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you blow up a balloon, the air, right? The balloon is round because the air is pushing out, is pushing energy out in all directions at the same pressure. But uh, I'm sure that you and Lord Jamar can have a very interesting conversation concerning you and Lord Jamar. Look, y'all should do a live stream. Let me know so I can tune in, right? And y'all can have a very interesting discussion on the planet being a sphere. He said the last story I heard was the Earth adopted the moon when it came too close to the Earth's gravity. Hmm. So Edward Green said the gravitational pull is what mainly makes the planet spherical. So where did you research this? Because, I was just speaking from, what I know about physics. You see, Supreme Man just came in. Uh, we got the topic. We're going to get into that, right? But we were speaking on. I found another interesting scientific story that I was going to bring. Where it was a story about where the moon came from. You know what I'm saying? And so, we was discussing. Brothers were discussing various things that they heard, theories that they've researched, or things that they've come across about how that is reality, right? And, that's one of the things Supreme Man always talks about is that, see, these things that we discussing, particularly right now, about, uh, how planets might be spherical and where the moon comes from. See, those is just seeds in the lessons. See, the lessons teach you about sun, moon, and stars, right? But do you have the curiosity, right? Do you have, do examine to gain the understanding to that degree where you take all those seeds, right? And you pour water on them and you give light to them and let them blossom so that you can get the best part. You see what I'm saying? I'm saying inside 120, there's all types of things. See, like regardless to, whether you agree with the story of Yakub or not, right? The science of genetics, right? They doing all they DNA this and DNA that, right? And they, that's what they dealing with. Characteristics that come from the parents. So, but do you take the time? Do you take the time to really delve into all of that, or are you just looking for some stuff to say to, kind of appease the people around you? Or are you really, when you study 120, right? Are you really looking for the full understanding? Have you seen the video of the? I'm, I'm going to assume that you mean Fruit of Islam right here, out of Detroit, attempting to speak on the law carefully. No, I didn't see it. What was what was it about? And look, ultimately, that's now you bringing me full circle. That's what the title is about. That's what the title is about. It's about, you know, uh, a lot of people just feeling that they see an opportunity. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people's feeling that they see an opportunity to uh, in all reality, steal our magnetic. That's what it really comes down to. You know what I'm saying? That you got a lot of people now who it's like all of a sudden everybody knows the history. Everybody knows the history of the 5%. You know what I'm saying? The first time I saw this was with the Book of the 5%, right? Dr. York writes the Book of the 5%. And what does he put on the cover? That Allah's name is Jawiz. Never at no point was Allah's name Jawiz. So see, this is the reality that, right now, you have a whole other set. Like, see, this is what I'm saying, for example, right? I would never go, right? Or look, I had that opportunity, right, of meeting people that knew Allah before 1964, right? See, I would never attempt to tell them what happened in those years. See, in terms of what happened in the mosque, I'm talking speaking for me. I'm not speaking for. I'm speaking for me. I don't know. I know what was brought out of there and given to us. You see what I'm saying? But for some reason, you have people that want to tell us our history. You want to tell us what happened with us between 1964 and 1969. See, a lot of things, right? He's a grown man. There's Raleen, there's Dora, there's children, there's things he got business he got to handle. See, if you want to know about that, you have to go ask the best knowers of that, right? The family. But for some reason, everybody feels that they are expert on what happened at 21, 22. People that came one time. And see what particularly gets me to a certain point with this, right? Is that ultimately, right, in order to accept these alternate histories, you have to accept that our older brothers is snakes, bro. See, a lot of people, you want to stop short, but if you telling me that these people gave us all the wrong knowledge, you telling me that in fact we are Muslim, right? And all the older brothers All the older brothers said, "Nah, we not Muslim, right? Allah taught us that we God." But they're saying that really he taught them something else. And so yeah, I had, look, like I said, we left off, right? So I call King Son back. Those that know, if you know, you know, right? On the last live stream, he calls me, sends me a text right at the end when I'm getting ready to get off, right? So when I go and I check the message, right? That's, he's like, yeah, he's asking me if there's going to be a rally, right? And he's saying that, yeah, him and the Muslim guys is going to be coming. So see, for me, it's already like, yo, bro, listen, how many times I got to tell you? It's like, imagine, if you had a cat, right, or a dog, and I was allergic to it, and you keep bringing it to my house. So this is what he's one of the main people that see you come out and say it. So see, this is what I said, right? I said, look, God, there's still brothers from the 60s here right now. So name names. See, name names. See, because otherwise, and yes, I use some of my best French with him. Like now, when you come to the rally, I want you to go up to brother's face and say, right, that you didn't teach this knowledge correctly. And I want you to give the reasons you said because brothers is addicts. So now the whole nation is addicts except your alcoholic ass. You said because the brothers was too young. They was young. They didn't get the knowledge right. See, we not talking. See, look. Did anybody here ever read The Mayor's Man? Did anybody meet Old Man Willie? Did you know any of the people? Who are you going to as the source of this story? That's what I'm asking. Like if somebody came out here to teach us to worship Fard Muhammad, why would they call themselves Allah? If you trying to get us to see, right, that Fard is Allah, right? Why would you call yourself Allah and then allow us to call ourselves Allah too? See, because that's with this story, with this version of the story, see, nothing happened. See, in their version of the events, there's not a constant stream of brothers going to Matterhorn. See, that's the difference between me and these niggas. See, I know the brothers, it's brothers right now that we could go and we can ask them, yo, what Allah told you when you went to Matterhorn? See, do y'all know Azriel? See, people act like this happened behind some curtain. No, all the people was involved. All the people, listen, people is going out teaching. Why is Allah not saying you teaching these brothers wrong? When Allah came out of Matterhorn, that was already being taught that we was God, we not Muslim. So why everybody ain't get kicked out right there? So as we continue to have the conversation, it took a hard left. It took a hard left because see, I don't want to hear that, bro. Like if you want to talk about some old shit when we used to rhyme, you want to talk about, White Plains Road, you want to talk about, but listen, man, don't tell me none of that. So it got to the point where uh he informed me, right? He informed me that he wants how do I put this here on YouTube, right? He questioned rather, right? He questioned if I would express the same energy to his face. So you know what I do. I'm with the YNs now. How y'all say, how the YNs say, how we say, see, I dropped the low. Is that how y'all say it now? I dropped the low, right? Because remember I said he first hit me, right, saying, asking about the rally, saying he want to come. So you know what I did? I sent him the address. See, for those that don't know, yeah, we got the rally is back scheduled, right? They got a location. So I gave him the address. Now here we go. Here we go. This is what. Look, I'm gonna say this out loud because I want y'all to hold me to this. If he don't show up this time, I'm gonna leave him alone because at that point I realized that see, I'm bullying you. See, I'm looking at you. You 8 feet tall, and you keep talking about what you're going to do. But see, if you don't show up this time, then yeah, that's going to make it clear. You see how we used to say back in the day, you a sucker from the rucker, right? Sometimes you got to be able to observe. See, they just observe everybody else. I got to observe, like, all right, I see what's going on here. You a sucker, right? And you just want to keep running your mouth because there's people out there that's impressed by that. So see, you got various people that want to tell the story, and see if you notice the way all these people is telling the story, it's like it's over. And see, that's what it is. That's what it is. See, every time something happens to one, because I remember all the time when somebody would always say, listen, man, when people return, somebody got to step up and take that spot. Somebody got to step up, right, and handle that business, right? Just look, when Allah got assassinated, brothers had to step up and teach civilization. And see, that's what happens. See, when every time something happens to somebody, right, there's a clown out there, right, who thinks that's the last of us. See, listen to the shit. Well, I don't know if y'all pay attention, but it's always what they always say. Oh, you're stuck. in 1964. Nah, nigga, I'm one of them. Not with you. What are you thinking? It's still plenty of Mohicans left. See, a lot of people don't understand, man. See, look, when Fard came over here, what he came over here for? He didn't come over here to be God. He came over here to give us the knowledge because we got the power. And see, those who don't see the power in themselves, they become Muslim. You have to study more. You have to go and listen to more of what Elijah said because you didn't get the message. And see, I really feel some kind of way, right? About you, people telling us to come in the mosque. You, bro, that what's going on over there now ain't got nothing to do with Elijah. What you coming over there for? To do Scientology? So see, these are the things. These are the things, and see, this is why you gotta have understanding. See, never before, right, in the history of time of me having the knowledge, do I understand, right, that listen, what do you say? What's your understanding? How you draw that up? Because see, I know what it say on the paper. See, I know who it say is the 5% on the paper. But see, who's the 5% out here? See, if somebody say who's the 5%, right? They're going to point to the people. And in a couple of areas, I'm gonna be one of the people they point to. They're not going to tell you nothing about what's on the paper. See, that's what it means when it say that look, we make this walk and talk. You see, like I said, when you see, there's some people that's trying to fulfill a prophecy from the past, right? And there's some people who is living out predictions. See, what are we going back to that time for? Well, let me not say we, because I already know I ain't going back. You see, as you experiencing these people, like, see, this is what I'm saying. Knowing King's son, it's like, bro, you came to the fork in the road and went the wrong way. So you're supposed to do like how Captain Donna said on that record. I came to the fork in the road and went straight. But see, a lot of people is at a fork in the road. See, and look, everybody's at a fork in the road every day, right? When you walk in the store, right, that's a million forks in the road. Are you gonna go towards the swine? You're gonna go towards the fruits and vegetables, right? There's all decisions every step of the way. Whether you're gonna be righteous or whether you're gonna be unrighteous. You know, see, and I'm outside of that now. I'm a grown person, right? But I'm saying that these forks in the road, they're dangerous for people who's just coming into the knowledge. They're dangerous for babies. See, for a person, see, like I got on this blue hat, right? That's like somebody comes to my granddaughter's school and say, yeah, I'm here to pick you up. Yeah, now me and your grandfather's the same thing because I got on a blue hat too. Yeah, but you're not the same. See, here's the thing that I'm not understanding, right? How is it that everybody else gets to define what the 5% is and who the 5% is? And we're not talking about what's on the paper. We're talking about get to define who is even in good standing. If you have your own criteria for rules, that now you're going to say that we're not good 5% somehow? See, we dealing with people right now with this. This how you know these people ain't outside. And see, this is one of the big problems I got with King Son right now. Right until unless he he we see what he does. But see, when you disrespect, right? Does the person being disrespected have any kind of input on whether that was disrespect? When you say that all of the older guys, all of them, you saying that all of the older guys, right, was too drunk and high to teach this right. That's disrespect. Especially when you're a bumbling alcoholic yourself. Blaming G, I'm gonna get to you. I'm it's funny you came on now because you had a conversation that applies to this topic. I actually was waiting on you. Not particularly today, but I'm glad you came today. So this is who we dealing with. This is who we dealing with. You know what I'm saying? And at some point, it's like, all right, see, I don't call you. I don't come by where you at. Like, look, I got a small circle that I deal with. So I don't understand why you keep calling me. You know what I'm saying? You didn't call me with Wakil. Now you call me leaving a message, you and the Muslim guy. So it's like, yo, I mean, what are you saying? Like at the end of the day, what is all that? Like I don't understand. Like I'm not comprehending. What is your goal of doing this? What do you expect to be the outcome? See, first of all, see, you think you intimidating people because you 8 feet. See, nobody that name drop. See, I'm not going. Nobody that name drops scares me. See, as soon as the energy get to that level, you start calling other names. You start talking about the city where you from, the gang you in, and all this shit like that. I'm supposed to be scared of you now? That's what you want to do. You want to, yeah, yeah, I roll with this brother right here. Yeah, you know, the brother from Medina. Yeah, I know him, and you not him. So we'll see. But let's get here. Let me get back in the comments because I want my pressure. Let me let my pressure level off. Let me let my pressure level off, and then we come back. Yeah, Jowers was Willeen's maiden name. It turned into its name for people who don't really, they're not a part of it. See, a lot of them people, when you go to those other nations, they're getting their information from people that fell victim over here. Like when you looked in that book at the 5% and you saw where it said Hadith, they got that from people who fell victim in this. And no, they wasn't here years, months, and days. They wasn't here decades. And that's my point. Is that where's your sources for this information, right? That we really were supposed to be the junior FOI. We've seen what their sources is. If y'all wasn't paying attention, y'all wasn't paying attention. District 120. So you said that so the brother from the FOI was tiptoeing around, calling the law a hypocrite. Guess he went on NYP talk show and asked him to edit segments talking about the law, so the episode didn't air. Yesterday, he brought it up in a sermon, saying cat that Bahu checked 10 years ago. Now he back at it. All he does is diss Farrakhan and IUIC, that's the Hebrew Israelites. He pulled the vid, but usually puts it back up within a day or two. I'll send it to you. Yeah, I'll check it out. You know what I'm saying? But I do recall that situation with Bahu. I recall that. You know what I'm saying? Look, this is this is other people's teachings, man. This is why I stay away from it. See, our duty is to teach the 85%, is to go out there, right, and do righteousness and provide the example so people, 85%, the youth or whatever, right, they could, want to be a part of this or internalize a part of this for themselves, right, for their own benefit. See, other people feel like they got to vanquish other religions. See, like the Christians, you got Christians, the Christian apologists, they go outside and argue with the Hebrew Israelites. You can look that up. It's debates, Protestants and Calvinism and Sunnis and Shias and all of that. And they're under the impression that they have to vanquish each other, not the devil. They all supposed to be righteous, right? They're not worried about the devil. But they feel like somehow we're spreading heathenness into the world, right? So now you got to come check us. Look, and I don't want to do it in a comparison, But look, we did our thing with this, man. And see, a lot of these cats that be talking, right? I noticed they be newer people. Like, I don't know how old this brother is right here. You understand what I mean? Like, look, the thing was done. But see, let's not act like from 1964, right? We didn't blast off in the rocket ship, bro. Let's not act like around the world that we not the reason, we not a big part of the reason why this knowledge is known, G. See, how many terms did they put into the common everyday lexicon? See, like when people when they have a rap cipher, right? How many things like that y'all got? See, let's not act like we didn't produce, right? Many great individuals, and not just in entertainment. See, black people is always going to excel in entertainment. But now also doctors, lawyers, right? Sometimes the transformation has taken a generation, meaning the first person in that family line that gets the knowledge, right? They may not achieve all of the goals, but sometimes you gotta look at their babies. And that's where you will see doctors and lawyers and financiers and bankers and all these various things. See, why are you putting the limitation of time on our growth and development? How you get to do that? See, a lot of people is to me, it's like, bro, did you hear us say that we got? Why would we be listening to you? I digress. Robbie in the building. Robbie, you got back. You back in the field? Or you still? Kim Salon, it's been a minute. What's the deal? Go, Professor. All right, so look, that's interesting, Blaine G. So you said you had that conversation to see something, right? So what was that thing you had the conversation to see? Green Man said, a lot of people want that ability to captivate others with their wisdom, but all they got to do is study. That's what we did. Yeah, but they got to study what we studying. That's that you got to see. You don't have the 5% mind. So you in there studying for the past to see how much you can conform to the past, while we taking the best parts out of that so that we could go activate it right now. See, if we talking about fraud, we talking about fraud, and we talking about fraud, and we talking about what we doing, we setting up home. So, I don't know. That's why I said, see, I understand the lessons. So I don't know how they will overcome that. Then that's another faction with them. Well, how can y'all study the lessons and not be NOI? Yeah, but I hear you talking out the Bible. How can you talk out the Bible? How can you be looking for the wheel from Ezekiel and you not Christian? Riddle me that. Why do I hear you talking about all this various stuff, right? From Hebrew Israelite, Sunni Muslim, and you not that? But you claim that we must be in the mosque, right? Because we got the lessons. See, here's the thing. This is the difference between us and everybody else. We got the lessons up here. So it don't matter what you say. You can't take it. You can burn my whole house down. Yeah, the paper is gone, but guess what? See, when we get it, that's what they tell us. Look, keep this in your mind so it can't be taken. That's why you just said, listen, when I was a kid, that's what I say, listen, you gotta learn this word for word, verbatim by heart. That's what back in the day, that's how I used to tell you, gotta learn this by heart. I never liked that. I'm learning my heart, I'm learning my mind. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just you get the point. Shaka Nulu. Shalom, what's the signs? King Math. Yeah, Julie T. Look, it's more terms out there than that. Look, when I hear people talking now, right, when they get to a point and they want to have a constructive conversation, they say, "Let me build with you." There's lots of things that I hear now. Like, look, even when people say one, there's lots of things, man. You know what I'm saying? That there's things that people do. When yo, bro, listen, we we we, in my opinion, right, from my observation, we single-handedly made some companies take the pig out of their ingredients. Because at that time, that's what we should be. We should be at the stores. You know what I'm saying? The corner stores, those was like the gathering spots. And so anybody that went in the store, we knew if you had the knowledge or not. Like if you got the knowledge, like look, I seen people. Yeah, say I remember this brother comes out the store and he got some that got swine in it, right? And look, I saw the guy looking at him, right? But I didn't really think of nothing of it. You know, I'm just getting the knowledge there, right? So I see the guy coming out with that right there. So the guy's just looking at him. And he waits until he opens it and gets ready to take one out and just slaps it out of his hand like, God, what the fuck is you doing? But just in general, you know, we be up at the store telling people they swine and dining, you eating hostage cakes, et cetera, et cetera. So people stop eating that and start eating the Drakes and the little Debbie's. And so all of a sudden, the hostess rack start being full all the time. And then look, one day I go in the store with the guy goes over there and pick up some hostess shit. Like, yo, God, the fuck is wrong with you? He like, nah, I don't got swine in it. And then I'm like, God, get out of here. So he showed me the what's the name, and they had changed it from lard to beef tallow. This is Chagalula said, saying the black man is God, but still praying to his spook. Well, now, see, that's what me and Blaylan G, when we get into, because that's exactly what happened, right? This brother, he went into the whole, he's praying to himself stuff. It's like, yo, look, bro, you being schizophrenic, you know, you having multiple personality disorder, right? That is not the knowledge. Praying to yourself. So then at a certain point, he starts talking all this gang talk. And it's like, so wait a minute. Is this your higher self submitting to your lower self now? is this is this your higher self? Like when these people that pray to themselves, right? When they do something stupid, right? Is that their higher self submitting to their lower self? Like, why do that seem to make sense to them for you to say that to me, right? In any other situation? Leyland G. Okay, now look, that's I don't know their business, right? So I can't really speak on that. But right, I already knew I already knew he was Yakub. You know, and I saw you say that in the what's the name. You said that in the what's the name. But see, look, that's what I'm saying, right? Is that see, I already detect this how I detected this how I detected him, right? Because he comes on the video. It's one of the videos where I'm dealing with this topic. And so he comes in and he asks, you know, he don't say peace and it just says, all I want to know is do the lesson say that we Muslim? So see, I already know where you're coming from. I already know where you coming from, right? So, you know, I don't be around the bush. We don't gotta do that. So yeah, it says we Muslim. Why'd you ask me that? See, when a person come out in the conversation and you start the conversation off, first of all, by not saying peace, and then going directly to the point that we don't agree about. See, once you start going directly to the point that we don't agree about when I wasn't talking to you. So then we see who he was, right? He revealed himself as soon as he came out and started talking that gang talk. See, I could already see you serving two masters. See, because when did he get extra hype and talking about that? When I started going into lessons. See, you want to talk about what's in the lessons. Do you even know the lessons? See, when people say, you think, listen, you think we trying to, the lessons say, what is the real devil? You following that? You living that out? The lessons say when how the devil was made. You living that out? See, even in the degrees, right? Even if there is a degree where you, okay, there's various characters in this degree, right? Are you the we or are you the they? So see, that's how I see already who he was without having to engage with him in his BS. That both both cells change the spot whenever it's necessary. Yeah, I guess so. You know, but being that he got one self and the other self, I'm wondering, shouldn't there be a Holy Ghost? See, the dude get stomped out because his mom sent him to get Chinese food when I was up top. Dude came to my cell with Oreos. I lost it on them. Come to find out they changed the ingredients. Yeah, look, Oreos was one of those things. Absolutely. Absolutely. Look, I seen people get in trouble like that too. Going to the store. Hey, going to the store to buy ham hocks. Yeah, Julie TV. Look, this is something that I agree with you right here on wholeheartedly. Right? They really don't want to be Muslim because they envious of God. And see, they really don't want to be God neither. See, because you got to stand on the square over here. See, you can go ahead and just be talking and yeah, far this and a lot of that. And see, ain't nobody gonna say nothing if you're not dealing with 5%. Right? They may not even know if you're not dealing with 5%. They're not people that came outside, right, and established nothing. So you can rest assured of that. They not people, that is a part of it. Is that, look, see, we go out in the field, right? And we get the people, God, that is wow. When we say we civilize with people, God, listen, some of us came from being wow. And see, some people, they couldn't really cut it around those people, G. You know what I'm saying? It was certain brothers that, they had people shook. You know what I'm saying? And so those people that was shook, to them, like, yeah, nah, something wrong with those brothers, man. You know what I'm saying? Those brothers ain't, they ain't like me, man. And see, this the same excuse. Yeah, see, God, nah, God, listen, it wasn't just that they like me. They like me because of the person. You like people because of the person they are. But you have those people that they cannot really cut it, in this full Muhammadan reality, they can't cut it ahead. You see, you also ain't going all the way to being a Muslim because you want this magnetic. You want the magnetic of over here and the safety of over there. That ain't gonna work. It's not gonna work, man. See, once you come out and start saying this, you said it. And depending upon where you at, the environment you in, right, there could be penalties or rewards. If you're not ready, stay on the safe side. The pills you talk about, red pill and blue pill, have been a big influence on misappropriating supreme mathematics and supreme alphabet and God language into slang amongst the YouTube community. Um, I don't know them that well, and I don't be, just in general, they are not. When I was watching the, the conscious community and all of that, I didn't particularly watch them that much. Um, I know some people that know them. You know what I'm saying? But I haven't really paid that much attention to them. They got vegan Oreos now. Yeah, Shaggy. Yeah, see now, Shaggy Noodle, when they start bending those rules like that, I just when they start bending those rules like that, you better look out. Because that's generally when they undercover about to do uh some 9/11 type acts. Said righteous men need not fear being amongst one another. They not sure. They not sure, God. That's what it is. They not sure if they righteous, G. That's why they need that restrictive law. So it can be dictated to them, right? If they righteous. But they the people who they don't know if they know their lessons, God. They the people that quote the lesson, God, 100%. You seen them, G. We're like, look, y'all was over here, right? Y'all was over here on the block, and y'all know each other. So he quoted the degree. Then y'all go up to the park, You know what I'm saying? You know, you go up to the park, the guys is up there, big guys. You know what I'm saying? The older brothers. Now all of a sudden, he's stuttering. And you say to the person, like, yo, you just quoted it. You just, they not they not like that, G. I can't call it. And look, you can overcome that. That's nothing to overcome. But they don't got it in them, G. And we're rubbing this shit on them, God. We rubbing it on them. Like when they go to the military and they rub that shit on their face, but that's not their real skin color. See, we rubbing this righteousness on them, God. It's on them. It ain't in them. So when they come around, you know what I'm saying, they don't wanna they don't wanna have to experience certain brothers, right? So the key is, right, to eliminate them brothers somehow, right? Somehow now they not supposed to be 5%. But see, they don't understand, right? That listen, those set of characteristics is what was necessary. And so you gotta remember when the guys came out, right? New York was like LA or Chicago, and it was ganged up. It was wall to wall gangs in every borough, everywhere where it was the Queens, the P, Medina, Harlem, it was gangs. Look, black gangs, white gangs, Hispanic gangs. Brothers couldn't be no shrinking violets. Those is not the brothers. Like, see, look, if you in LA now, right, and you see people from LA getting it now, look, a bird from LA said that. A bird from LA said that. He said, "Yo, if the guys didn't have that edge, I never would have, you know what I'm saying, coming out the world that I came out of, I would have not recognized it for what it was." But see, because the brothers stand on the square, I was able to, it was able to penetrate through my mentality that I had at that time. So see now you dealing with, see, like I said, this is what's disrespect, right? Is that we living in a time now where things have been made a whole lot easier for us because of what the older brothers already established. See, like right now, you come out and you say you 5%, and it's Wu Tang, you know what I mean, poor righteous teachers. Now, even when I first was getting the knowledge, that was a disciplinary issue. If the administration found out you was a 5%, that went on your record in the dean's office. You see, if you never been in the trenches like that, right? You never been in the trenches like that. You never been out teaching where it goes down at. Then you're gonna have another degree of judgment. You're not gonna understand that listen, you know, these brothers, uh, there was some heroics involved with many of our older brothers that established this thing, man. How we got it now, where we could come on the internet and just be saying that we got. You couldn't do that. So that's why everything else is coded and symbolized up. They'll see. Yeah, crazy because I came across a couple of said 5%, and one brother can quote lessons all day, but he never drew them up. Whenever I ask him, what's today's supreme mathematics, he just lists all the corresponding degrees and never draws them up. Come to find out, he's from the NOI. You see? You see? Look, the good thing for you, right, is that you didn't allow peace to be a password. Now, it wasn't Crips and Bloods back then. You had there was New York gangs, Black Spades, who was it? The who was that gang? They used to all be like, see, look, around 174th Street and Boston Road, Southern Boulevard, Tremont Avenue, all over there. That's where like a La B and La Shasha and all of them, they from over there. Law, you reality, big head, nah, all of them is from that area. You know what I'm saying? So it's also that's Ground Zero, Black Spades, Zulu Nation. You know what I'm saying? And I'm trying to remember the name. It was a gang. They had similar names, but one side was mostly black and one side was mostly Spanish. And when you see those movies, it's them in those gangs. But just saying that the guys are surrounded by these cats. And you know how gangs is. You know how gangs is. What are y'all doing on our turf, punk? What, what, what are y'all doing on our turf, punk? In fact, Shaganulu, did you see the education of Sonny Carson? If you look at that movie, if you look at that movie, that give you some type of idea about how the gangs was in New York at that time. This is something new where like time had to pass. Like in when I was growing up, we didn't even listen to music that didn't come outside from New York. Like if somebody was from California and they put a record out, we wouldn't listen to it. So let alone accept some whole idea like that where we have allegiance. Nah, that wasn't like in New York, we was we was we felt like originators, to some that's what I'm talking about. The savage nomad, the savage nomads, and the savage skulls. That's them. Yeah, those is the two I was talking about right there. All of them was from right around there. You know what I'm saying? But right, you had the tomahawks, the chaplains, right? If you know, you know, right? It was gangs all up and down. So, who was these people that were supposed to be walking around giving out roses? Like that's what they supposed to do. Like y'all ever seen that at Kent State? At Kent State when they having the protests about the Vietnam, and they got soldiers stationed on. They got soldiers stationed on the campus, on the college campus, right? And some girls go up and start putting flowers, like the stem of the flower. They put in the stem of the flower in the gun barrel. Now look, we know that that didn't work. That turned ugly, right? If you know the history about what happened at Kent State. I did make a point that I said that to myself, that anytime I bring up Kent State, I'm gonna mention that black school. But what's messed up is I can't remember the name of the black school. But they talk about it was a massacre at Kent State, but there was a black school. I'm pretty sure it was a little bit before the Kent State thing happened, where they massacred more kids than that. But it's not as famous of a thing. But I make sure to bring it up. Nah, okay. I'm not the savage one, okay, boy. They the savage one. They the ones who lost all knowledge. It's like they the ones who forgot the degree. We walked 2 blocks and then, hey look, and you gotta throw that person under the bus. Like when that person, you gotta say to the person, yo, you just quoted it. Cause see, if you don't say that, right, then the brothers is gonna say, yo, what you doing walking with him? What you doing walking with him? And he don't know. You know your lessons. How long you been with him? But you a poor righteous teacher. I think it is Fisk. I think it is Fisk University, uh, Edward Green. Somebody check that out real quick. If you got another window that you could Google that. But Fisk University, yeah. They had a bigger massacre but see, it was black kids. So that didn't make the news like that. I'm trying to catch up here, Chelsea. That's how I know I talk too long when I'm totally lost in the comments. Yeah, Levy Turner, we did that a couple of times. You can write them too. Levy Turner says talking about terms of ingredients, right? But Robbie says sometimes there's a phone number on the package, and you could call the phone number. Look, you could write them too, write the address. I remember one time, somebody wrote to Wrigley's that makes the gum, and before that, Wrigley's was cool, right? With Wrigley's was not poor. Uh, Somebody wrote to Wrigley's, right? And Wrigley sent them a letter back, and they made copies of it and handed it out at the rally, right? At the parliament. And in the letter, it said that, in the past, our stuff has been, what I'm saying, not swine, but right now, due to financial concerns, we're going to start sourcing some of our ingredients from different places, And so now we can't guarantee, you know what I'm saying? We can't guarantee that there's not going to be no pig ingredients. So just saying that was one, somebody wrote too. Remember when yellow number 5 and yellow number 6? Remember when yellow number 5 and yellow number 6 was no good? I think red 5. What was it? It was yellow 5, yellow 6, and red 5. I think somebody wrote about those. See now, Bill and G. See what you're saying, right? You say here a lot of people, right, were searching for the knowledge of God but couldn't find the God, so they became Muslim, right? Thinking that the knowledge was the same because the lessons are similar. But see, what I'm saying is that these people is doing it on purpose now. Like they're purposely, right, using whatever similarities, right, in order to draw people over there. That's the difference. See, that's the problem with the Muslim guys. The safe side was nowhere in Medina. I mean, the only safe side I knew was in the house. You had people that went in the house, but once you stepped outside, uh, you know, and in that time, it was pretty much on. You know what I'm saying? When you come outside, see me, I have to do. See, I call my lessons before I come outside, and then whenever I'm on my way to my first destination, I'm going to school, wherever I'm going, I quote mines and get off my math when I manifest. I'm prepared when I get there. Look, I'm coming to blow it up. I'm coming in my mind. Look, I'm thinking, hey, yeah, see, they ain't heard this yet. They, and you know how people practice dances at their house before they go to the party and do it. That's how you build lessons. I used to practice. I used to practice how I was going to tell people I know 120. If people ask you what degrees you know, I used to practice it. No 120, guy. You got to say it like calm like that. Well, you'd be shocked too. If you're young and you got 120. So yeah, I used to be uh, prepared when I came outside. You know what I'm saying? So uh, I guess that's one of the reasons I wasn't nervous. You know what I'm saying? Preparation is key for that, for not being nervous. You know what I'm saying? Other people didn't take this much time. When you are this for real, who comes in tune with you will know either specifically or indirectly. You have to make understanding understood at the appropriate time in the appropriate way. Some people, you know, I don't even know if they had the background before they came into the knowledge. I don't know if they had the background to, really really grasp this knowledge and internalize it. You know what I'm saying? They didn't, like how the Christians say, yea, though I walk through the valley of death, I fear no evil, right? Because you prepared. You know what I'm saying? They not those people. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like when you see these guys, right, for the most part, and it's not like that is a requirement. You know what I'm saying? But they're not, you could tell they're not from our neighborhoods. You know what I'm saying? Like they might be from there, but they not the people that was outside. Daniel Addison, he finally caught a lot of string. Omar Carter, what's the deal? Hey, look, and I'm not going to mistake you this time. You know what I'm saying? Hey, look, speaking of that, though, that brother hit me. Did I tell y'all that? He hit me on Instagram. I had to block him, though. And when I met my enlightened and majestic Allah, we were in the military at the same time. Rakim Allah had already laced me with the seeds to be born. I gained understanding of who I am. Yeah, the education of Sonny Carson, uh, in short eyes, that was required. That was like after 120. that, that was required viewing at one time. Education of Sonny Carson in short eyes. Oh yeah, that's my favorite line right there, probably in cinema history. What can we, the Lords, do with a punk like you? That's that. Listen, that was absolutely on time. Yeah, that's one thing I be saying too. Yeah, I'm glad that it was the 5%, and I didn't really which the gang era, it ended kind of abruptly. You know what I'm saying? And I didn't realize why. You know what I'm saying? But apparently, one of the reasons it ended abruptly was because of the 5%. Red number 40, yellow number 40. I don't think did they have I don't remember seeing yellow number 40. I'm not saying what it is. I just don't recall. I just don't recall seeing it. Life laser. What's life doing? How you figure out this technology? Like every time life is Amish. Now he on here, man. See, that's the last time I help you. No more technology now. I see your G. On April 8th, 1967, African American students from Fisk University and Tennessee State University were involved in a riot along Jefferson Street in Nashville, Tennessee, that led to injuries and arrests. I could lose my whole family in gangs. That's why I had to move to Vegas in '94. Yeah, that seems to be the like, that's like I mean, I guess it's all over, but in Cali, you know, you seen that. Like it was a dude, and let's say his name was Tiger, right? And so it's generations of people with this name Tiger, right? And so he was like, "Yeah, I'm Tiger 5. My dad is Tiger 3." Yo, that that was crazy. It's like when you people from LA say that too, that be in the game would be like, "Yo, bro, you wouldn't understand. You don't understand what we doing." Yeah, I don't. I don't even attempt to comprehend. But I just hear stuff. I hear stuff, and yeah, sometimes it's shocking too. Mike Tyson gave a shout out to Akbar after a fight. Yeah, it's pictures of Mike Tyson in front of the law school in Medina at the peak of his fame. Omar Carter said, "I'm not sure if that's black exploitation or cult classic movies." Um, you know, uh, I don't know if you could separate the two. Those movies in that era were indeed black exploitation. You know what I'm saying? It would be difficult to, remove a lot of those movies from that uh, kind of category or whatever. But they're also cult classics. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not saying that every black exploitation movie is a cult classic or every cult classic is a black exploitation movie, but those movies that was made in that time frame, right, are cult classics. Who is I saw this person writing something and I didn't know what it was. But yeah, this Vega Verdugo. Oh, y'all down there. Yeah, look, that's how they do it out there. You know what I'm saying? In New York, uh, that started happening once they started accepting things from outside. But in New York, there really wasn't no lils like that. Like only people who was little would be somebody's little brother. But that wasn't a New York thing. Absolute Black said black exploitation is wild work. First of all, welcome to the channel, but you know, in what way are you saying it's wild work? So Dolomite was what, in your opinion? Uh, I mean, was it black exploitation? Like, I mean, see, now, uh, I've heard some of the people that was in those movies, right? And uh, some of them feel as though, like, because when the black exploitation, like, who first started pointing that out was like the NAACP people and all of that. You know what I'm saying? The people who was more with the church stuff and conforming to everything. So to see these kind of movies, that they wanted to see, Harry Belafonte and what's my man Sidney Poitier and all of that. You know what I'm saying? That's what they was more into. So this kind of street stuff, right? But the people who was actors, they was like, yo, I never did a movie after they came and shut that down. It was like, yo, that was the only time that we was getting paid. You know what I'm saying? So and of course we could always look at that and say, yeah, well, y'all was selling out. That's why y'all was getting paid. You know what I'm saying? But there's a lot of various angles to that. You know what I'm saying? There's various angles uh because one of the things I always notice, right, is that you had like Superfly, who he's a dope dealer, right? But he's trying to get out of it. Then you had other people like Black Caesar that was like, nah, son, you can't sell that. Can't sell that around here. You see what I'm saying? So you asked me about a specific movie. So that's why I'm kind of like going into every movie and saying, like, I'm not going to say that there was no coonery, buffoonery in there. You know what I'm saying? Um, but most of the movies, at least the ones that I saw, right, it wasn't totally coonery, buffoonery. You know what I'm saying? And you did have some people that made it out of there. You know what I'm saying? And you did have, like, look, Blackula was black exploitation, but it wasn't no dope dealing in there. You know what I'm saying? At least that I recall. You know what I'm saying? So, uh, yeah, that's a double-edged sword, for me, because yeah, those are some of my favorite movies. You know what I'm saying? Absolutely. Uh, but yeah, there's some problematic things. When we look at the messages that's going out in hip hop right now, um, we could definitely trace some of those uh, principles and ideas, people having those principles and ideas, uh, communicated to them in those movies. You know what I'm saying? But those wasn't the only movies. You know what I mean? Scarface is involved with that. When you listen to the old timers, they talk about Edward G. Robinson and Humphrey Bogart. You know what I'm saying? And various people. So, uh, yes, that's a delicate situation. A delicate topic. You know what I'm saying? I think that one might be a whole video on its own to really sit there and dissect all of those. So you said the word black exploitation, especially during that post-urban renewal era. Well, how old are you, absolute black? Because Black exploitation is a word I kind of grew up with, so I guess it don't have the same impact on me. Shaka Nulu said even in Cali, you didn't really hear Lil. It was either Junior or Man Man. I do remember, yeah, it was a lot of people called Man Man. You said, how does one rise above these traps besides being the best at what they do, leaving no questions? So you saying, how does one, which traps? See, right now what's happening is I'm talking so much that by the time I catch up to you, so the absolute black said, take it out the entertainment. That's what the war on drugs can be called. Yeah, you got to clarify that statement a little bit more. Yeah, I got to Gold Professor also said that you really didn't hear Lil in Cali like that. Omar Carter said Sidney Poitier is my cousin. Get out of here. Not guilty. You met him before? Or he's like just, that that's your cousin. Hollywood Shuffle that's another cult classic. And I actually thought which they was together. So, but I didn't at the time I saw the Wayans as stealing their show from Robert Townsend. Like I thought that Living Color was Hollywood Shuffle on TV. The spook who sat by the door. You know what? Absolute Black. I left that out. That was also required. Look, that was required reading and required viewing. And look, that movie is about revolution, but that's still a black exploitation. That's a black exploitation movie too. Trick Baby, I don't know if I saw that movie. Him and Bill Cosby. Well, look, I don't bring up Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby's crossed the line where I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't look. He's got look. Bill Cosby could be in the Epstein files, sir. So I'm just saying, you gotta watch. You gotta watch who you fraternizing with. Oh yeah, sir. Said you killed it, my man. I ain't be got no weapon. I ain't gonna front. That was said they was killing me with that. Said and when his Jerry curl started drying up, that was Oh man. Oh yeah, see? Oh my goodness, you already you already beat me to it. Right. I read the Donald Goines books, but I don't remember seeing the movie. Um, I mean, I don't know if they played Robert Townsend. You know, Robert Townsend, he was unapologetically black. You know what I'm saying? And Robert Townsend, he wasn't playing the game. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, uh, he did do his thing. You know what I'm saying? Like he still was behind the scenes on a couple things. Remember he had the show on TV for a minute. You know what I'm saying? Look, uh, you know, that, just being commercially successful and all that, you know what I'm saying? I mean that's good. I ain't saying don't do it, but uh, I think he made enough money to where that don't have to be an issue, to where, you know, for him to have maintained his integrity, you know what I'm saying? You ain't never seen him with no dress on and doing all types of stuff. You know what I'm saying? And he was a writer on a lot of things. So to me, he came off. You know what I'm saying? I don't want him to have uh did some bullshit and made all this money. You know what I'm saying? And then we didn't get the classic that we got right there. You know what I'm saying? So I have to give you pushback on that in regard to Bill Cosby. I think there were plots against him, and then people found time to serve him that work. Well, there's his there's his there's his admission, you know, and there is there's various reasons that people cop out. You know what I'm saying? I understand that too. Um, but I'm not a relativist, just in general. You know what I mean? And then especially when you talk about what he's accused of, see, you either did that or you didn't. Full stop. I don't need no context. You understand what I'm saying? Like there's some things that you could explain that, you know what I'm saying, you know, uh you stole a car, right? Because your mom, she called you, she's in the emergency room, she's going into emergency surgery, and you had to be there right then. And, somebody left their car running right there, and you had to do what you had to do. You can't say that about what Bill Cosby is accused of. You see what I'm saying? You can't. Especially because see, even if you put it in that same situation with the car, it would be like, bro, you got 50 cars in your garage. Why'd you steal my car? She had to say with the stuff that he's accused of, like, bro, I'm sure that there was plenty, right, of amazing looking women, right, that was perfectly willing, you know what I'm saying? So, but yeah, I can't, said yellow number 5 and 6 cause neurological damage. I mean, I ain't. I mean, like the brother said, a lot of things I stopped eating anyway. Like just in general, over the years, I don't eat a lot of things, so I don't, I don't really think it's too many things that I eat that got those dyes in it. In general, I don't like dyes and flavors. Whatever I get, I want it to be the regular color. You know what I'm saying? And then even when I eat, right, I like to be able to tell what the thing was. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know how like if you eat a fish, right, you can look at it and see that it's a fish. You know what I'm saying? If you eat, chicken, you can look at it, now, beef is a little harder because the cow is big and the pieces you get is small. You know what I'm saying? But, if you eat a string bean, you can see that that was a string bean. You know what I mean? As opposed to a chicken nugget, right? If you eat a chicken nugget, would you be able to identify what part of the chicken that chicken nugget came from? In fact, chicken nuggets don't have any chicken in them, but that's my point. So they search for something outside themselves instead of finding God within self. Psalms 82:6, St. John's 1 and 1, 10:34, St. Luke's 17:21. So these is all, because I'm familiar with 82:6. I think I know 10:34, but the St. John's 1 and 1, I don't know that one. In the 17:21. So yeah, everybody check us out. If y'all see the link here today, right? The link that's at the top right here, this is for a community that I'm attempting to start, right? Uh what I think is gonna one of the functionalities of this site, right? It's a community, and I think that if everybody joins, right, or whoever joins, that I'll be able to send alerts out through the school. You know what I mean? So over there, I got memberships, right? There's free memberships. There's $5 a month, $10 a month, $20 a month. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna have some other, because over there they have like we can do videos without even coming to YouTube, which is another thing that I want to look into because these people kind of got me right here. You know what I'm saying? Meaning that, see, anything what I said today, they cannot appreciate that and cut me off. So just in general, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of things we want to get into that. I'm bringing back the t-shirts. Um, right now, something happened with my online store though. I can't even call it, but right now I'm about to log off, but I'm gonna try to get that in order and have those available, you know what I'm saying, for when we go live with the regular civilization class later. But everybody click on that link that's pinned to the top, right? And if you see fit, join the community. Also in that community, everybody can communicate with everybody else. You know what I'm saying? So, if you wanted to communicate with somebody else on the live or whatever, you know what I'm saying, you do that. We can have calls, video conferences, etc., everything over there. So, uh, for those that's interested, join over there. We're gonna make it a little more interesting. You know what I'm saying? uh, perhaps by the night. In fact, Laser, I have the shirt, the Black Man Oath. I got that in the digital stuff. So because Life is the one who actually that's his statement there, that he was the original designer of that shirt. Hold on. I got mine. See that? You're not good. Well, I guess if you could read backwards. But what it says here is Black Man Oath. As of today, I have no problems with other black men. My goal is to not My goal is not to hurt or harm you, but support and uplift you. We have enough enemies. Be safe out here, black men. So this is mine from we had the silk screen. You know what I'm saying? But I spoke to the guy of life and he gave me permission to use that, so we're gonna have some of these. In fact, life, uh send me some other designs. I'm supposed to send you a design. I got you. But I'm saying send me some too. You know what I'm saying? So other than that, you know what I'm saying, we had a couple new people, right? Do the each one, teach one, hit the like button, subscribe, go over to the school, check that out. I'm gonna keep that link at the top for the next couple of lives so people know, you know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna sign off and say peace, and I'll see y'all later.